Hello everyone, it's me, Alex Axe, and it's Friday, December 8th, right? It's the 8th. I'm having a date problem this week, sorry. I'm happy to report that it is not as cold today as it was yesterday, which is really nice, and it means we're probably going to have a nice weekend. And I'm enjoying not freezing my butt off in my truck, even if my feet are still cold, because my feet are always cold, because that's my life. Last night, happy Friday, by the way, and hopefully neither of us are going to have to work this weekend. We'll see. But anyway, so I need to talk to you about last night. I went and saw a kind of like a preview showing of The Shape of Water at the Mayan Theater down in Denver. And the Mayan is a really cool theater anyway. It's like a little art house theater that's run by Landmark. And I mean, I've got some good memories of the Mayan. It's like enough of a pain in the butt to get to that I haven't been to it often, but like that's where I saw, I want to say it was Kenneth Branagh's Much Ado About Nothing. That's where I saw Princess Mononoke. So that's the place to go to see kind of like cool movies that haven't had a wide release yet. And so The Shape of Water like continues in that tradition. I've been hearing so much about this movie ever since it, you know, well, I mean, I follow Guillermo del Toro on Twitter, and he's been talking about it a lot because you can tell he's proud as hell of this movie, and he has every right to be. And, you know, I've been hearing a lot about it from everyone who's been seeing it, like, in the festival circuit and stuff. And holy crap, it lives up to everything everyone's been saying as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I think... You know, I've pretty much loved every one of Del Toro's movies I've seen. I have a special place in my heart for Crimson Peak just because there was so much there to look at as far as like the color story and the symbolism and all that. And I feel like I need to see The Shape of Water at least 4 more times because there's a really beautiful color story in there as well. Like, I was even just picking out the first time, the use of the color red, and so when you get to see it, you know, keep an eye out for that, like when Eliza starts wearing her red shoes and stuff. But you know, I love Del Toro because if nothing else, he does not shy away from using color, which when everything is like desaturated hell or teal and orange hell, it's what he does just looks absolutely gorgeous and remarkable, just if no other reason than he's not scared of having a really broad color palette with strong colors. And then just, I mean, you know, as much as I loved Crimson Peak, this movie was honestly a much better written and better put together movie and kind of much more thematically coherent. And oh god, it's just like the acting is amazing and it's beautiful and it's about love and you know, different marginalized identities and people finding each other so that they're not alone, and just, oh, I want to talk about it more, but I also don't want to spoil it for you, other than obviously everyone knows the big spoiler that there's like a fish man in it and a fish man romance with a lady. And it's also, I mean, Del Toro made me believe in romancing the fish man, who also has like a nicer butt than any fish man probably has any right to have. But it is just gorgeous on so many levels. And like, you know, the villain is like a perfect Del Toro villain where, you know, he's super gross and kind of over the top and evil in his own way, but still sort of believable as a person that could exist, just kind of like turned up just a little bit. I mean, he's got like stylistically the kind of villains he does, like there's just something so creepy about all of them. So I mean, it's colorful and beautiful and made me tear up, and, you know, has this wonderful, almost little fairy tale framework. And the other thing I was just thinking about, and I'm going to say this is not a spoiler because it's just talking in a generality, and plus, you know, what I'm going to mention you see in like the first 2 seconds of the movie. But what I've noticed again and again is Del Toro is so good at making female characters unapologetically human. Like, okay, one of the first things you see in the movie is kind of like the main character's daily routine, like, you know, she gets up and she makes her lunch and all that, and she draws herself a bath and she masturbates in the bath, and it's like, holy shit, we're just going to unapologetically be like, look, women are people and have needs and do things, and it's not a big deal. It's like a regular thing. And I find that really charming because of how particularly the sexuality of women is treated so often in Hollywood, and particularly because it feels like so much of the film is framed from her viewpoint and her desires and about her emotional and also sexual needs, and it's just really great. There is so much to love about this movie, and hopefully it will be coming to a theater near you soon and you will get to see it. I'm just glad that I got to see it before I went to the UK, because trying to coordinate to go see a movie in the UK is a bit nightmarish, even if it's cool getting to see it with some of my friends. So yeah, go see The Shape of Water. The other thing I kind of wanted to mention is, like, there's all this drama about, like, Patreon changing their fee structure and all that. And so, like, by the way, if you support me on Patreon and you don't want to give me $1 anymore, because then they're going to charge you like $1.40, I do not blame you in the slightest. If you want to keep supporting me, thank you so much, because, you know, I don't get that much from Patreon, but honestly, it really helps every month, because, you know, I'm no longer in a position where I'm making that much money, because I'm not doing the job that I went to school for to get my degree, and I'm still paying student loans, so that's awesome. As much as I do like my current job, God, I wish it paid more. But I don't know, there's been like back and forth about like, oh, these fees are kind of a money grab, and then they came out with this explanation about why they're doing it, and I guess it's an explanation, but it's not a great one, because it's something about, like, basically they used to just, all of your pledges, they'd aggregate them so that when they took it out it was only one transaction fee, and now they're going to individually charge, and that's kind of their reason for it, and they're doing it so that, like, people can't just subscribe to somebody's Patreon and grab all their shit and then leave before they get charged. And, like, I guess I can understand how that's a problem. Obviously, that's not a problem that I have. And it's not a model that I think a lot of writers use. But also, it's becoming increasingly clear that Patreon just does not give a shit about, like, the lower level people, which, I mean, you would think that they'd kind of look at the idea of the long tail, and as long as you're bringing in something, you would think it was worth it, but whatever. I'm not a business person, but this is not to rant about fee structures and all that. I'll throw, like, Natalie Lurz's analysis about it in the notes, so that if you're curious as to why everyone in, you know, writer Twitter land is shitting themselves, you can take a look at that. But I mostly want to mention, like, last night I actually ended up canceling all of my Patreon pledges, and I feel super shitty about it. But it was also, like, between the fees raising, and pretty much everyone that I support is at $1 because I don't have much money. And between that, and then Patreon is also doing away with creator to creator donations, which that's kind of how I did it, where it's like everyone, you know, gives money to me, and then I had a certain amount of stuff that I was like, oh, I'm just going to pledge directly to other writers, and Patreon would take that out of the pot of money they were going to give me and then just give me a smaller amount of money, and it worked out really nicely. And they're like, oh, well, we're doing that away with that, so instead you've got to track how much money we're going to give you plus all of, like, 5 million little individual transactions. And at that point, to be honest, I just kind of freaked out and I deleted everything, because I was like, I can't mentally handle dealing with this right now. And I guess this is the point where I admit, and I was kind of going back and forth with myself about whether to talk about this, but I feel like it's kind of important, like, because I seem like someone who really has their shit together most of the time, but I'm kind of running myself on the ragged edge of, like, what I can handle at any given time without dissolving into a screaming mess. And so that's why, like, you know, I'm cruising along and I'm like, I'm good. And then one thing hits me and I'm like, oh, I don't have the mental resources to deal with this. And this is the point where I just kind of lose it. And it's just an unfortunate fact of, like, you know, I work a full-time job and I work a part-time job and I write and I have a lot of other stuff going on, and I have, like, financial stuff constantly screaming in the back of my head because yay, student loans and other things like that. And it's just like, I've managed to put my life together in such a way that I can handle all of these things, but I've also been having to come to terms with the fact that I am basically at the limit of my resources. And so then when something else pops up, a lot of times recently, I've just been like, nope, can't deal with it. Can't deal with this. And it's been really hard for me to kind of come to terms with that, just because like I've always been the really capable friend who can handle everything. And, you know, I'm always the person who has their shit together in any given situation. So whenever I come to a place where I don't have my shit together, it's like this giant blow to my self-esteem, to be honest, especially when it's like, it feels like it's something that's relatively small, where I'm like, suddenly I've lost my ability to maintain my cool. And I don't know, like, I think maybe I need to find something that I can like delete out of my current existence so I get a little of my mental resources back. But I also am just kind of the person who will be like, oh, well, now I have like 3 mental pennies that I can deal with, so I need to go put those into something else, because I obviously need to overschedule every moment of time I have on this earth. So I'm still figuring that out, you know. So I guess if you have a problem like that, know that you are not alone. So anyway, that's kind of the deal. I'm kind of waiting and seeing what Patreon's gonna do. And it's not like, I mean, you know, I don't have a lot of viable options for other things, but mostly I'm trying to see if there are alternatives so I can still support the people I supported, so it's not going to be a giant mess that I have to like try to fit into a spreadsheet that I just can't handle right now. And, you know, hopefully I can go back to supporting the people I supported. But it's just, I feel bad about it, and it's like, it's not anyone's fault except Patreon's. But at the same time, you're just like, I feel bad that I can't figure this out in a way that's going to benefit the people that I want to help. And so I'm just going to try to keep working on that when I've got a chance. So anyway, that was not a cheerful way to end this. Sorry. But yay, The Shape of Water was really good. You should go see it. Woo! And hopefully you have a good weekend, and hopefully I don't have to work. And then in that case, I'll see you on Monday.